With the
We are here, guys. We are live. My phone is now live.
Do you have Twitter?
For now.
All right, we're going. Let's see.
All right, here we are in the Judean desert. I'm going to have to go the old school and hold my phone.
No, it's not.
I'm here with some good guys. Check out everyone here.
What's up, everybody?
We are live.
You want to prop it up? Wait, whose is this?
Yeah, that's his.
No.
Here we go. Do we want to tag Avi?
Are we doing a L'chaim? Here we go, guys. L'chaim. Marilyn saying L'chaim. Thank you, Marilyn. Hello, Fontana, California, from the Netherlands.
Here we go. Anita Tucker.
Anita Tucker. Shalom Aleichem, Anita.
Awesome.
We get our inspiration from you, Anita.
Amen.
We get our inspiration
Anita
from
Tucker,
you.
That is what's called a real Mesirut Nefesh, self-sacrifice for the Jewish people.
Thank you,
I was
Anita.
down in Gaza. I remember her getting carried
Hello,
out
Rudy
with such
Eastman.
class.
Yitz
And now she
Fink.
carries us on her shoulders.
She now carries
Ben
us.
Packer.
That's true.
What's up, Ben? Hey, Ben.
Josh, can you put this somewhere where you can...
we do a L'chaim?
Let's do a L'chaim.
Amen.
Amen.
Let's put that somewhere. It's
So
not
the
in the way.
Judeans being back in Judea.
Amen.
Baruch atah
Amen.
Adonai Eloheinu melech
Amen.
haolam shehakol niyeh b'dvaro.
Amen.
Here, you guys move over. Pardon me a little bit.
Good.
All right.
Perfect.
Who wants to start this party off? I got people watching.
All right, so
We all got people
Would you
watching.
mind putting thelandofisrael.com's right behind your computer so it's not blocking anything?
Like this?
Yeah, maybe.
There we go.
And just press that live button.
You're going to hold it like that the whole time?
I guess I don't have any other solution. If you have a
We told you to put your guns
Okay.
Okay, shalom and welcome to Land of Israel Network. How y'all doing? Obviously,
go.
is there a way we could sit in a way where you're not taking up 85%
I'm not-
of the real estate of the Land of Israel Network?
But then I'm not in on this one. We're sort
Okay,
of.
so we got to figure that out.
I'm
Maybe back up just
Yeah,
a
Elle's
tiny bit.
watching. How are you, Elle?
I'm sorry. All
You
right.
guys are witnessing the creation of a whole new thing now. Oh, that's a good idea.
I'll sit on the
Thank you
table
for
and,
your
Does
patience.
somebody want to introduce what we're doing here today? I mean,
right.
Gedaliah.
Please.
Gedaliah, I think...
You're a host?
I think.
Oh,
Yes,
fine.
host, go for it.
That's the deal. Whoever's hosting us, tell us about the area and what we're doing, and then we'll...
Okay,
Why
fantastic.
are we here, Ari Abramowitz?
So we were all not dear friends. We were dear friends with Ari Fuld, and to call him a friend, I think we're all honored and privileged to have had him in our lives. And since he left the world, I think we've recognized that he was a great hero of Israel. But we got together to have a little bit of closure together as a group. And as we were talking, and we were like, let's get personal, let's get to know each other, because I knew Ari on a very professional level. I now know him on a much more personal level after he's passed away, and his family has come out here, and I've met them. But Gedaliah, you said, let's get to know each other personally. And as we were talking, we realized that this conversation really needs to go out to the world. And perhaps I think it would take all five of us to be able to match Ari Fuld's greatness and his zeal. And then we said, let's do this. Let's get together and have conversations about some of the most pressing, important issues facing Israel and the Jewish people today from Judea. And let's do it. Anyone want to add to that?
No, I think that's
No,
good.
listen, I'll just what we're all about is telling the truth, inspiring people with the truth. That's what Ari was about. That's what we're about. And I know at Ari's funeral, I was going around to all the other activists. I'm saying, guys, we don't have Ari's voice anymore. Now we got to double down. In addition to what we're usually doing in terms of getting the truth out there, we have to work even harder than before. Ourselves and to get more people on board. We need every one of you to join us in helping us spread the truth, whether it's holding the cameras together with us or just writing or sharing, but something. We need more and more work to get the truth out there, and that's what we're trying to do all together right now.
Absolutely.
So here's the framework, everybody, just to give you an idea. We have 3 segments, we have 3 hosts, we have 3 subjects. And what we're gonna do is go around, and we have Ben hosting the first segment, the second one is Josh, and the third one is Ari. And so let's start off. If anybody has any questions on any platform, we could certainly please post your questions at the end of the segment. We'll try to address them. But we're working on a time limit. So we're going to start off over here with Ben.
Hey guys, I think I have a little reception, so bear with me if I don't.
Do you want a selfie stick, Ben?
Well, I gave mine away.
I have mine right here.
Selfie stick is great. And I just want to introduce to my crowd what's going on right here. Give me 1 second, guys, because I just got some reception. As y'all can all see, I'm here with some incredible powerhouses
Check out Ben.
for
Ben's doing his
the land of
intro over
Israel, for truth and unity. for justice and strength and faith and everything we believe in. Look at
Can't
this.
see him, but you could hear him.
Look
Let me
at this
just tell
group.
you something. I ran into
Jewish
Ben
adrenaline.
Goldstein the other day in Somena Gush.
Back up
I
so
was
everyone can see you.
exhausted. I was lost in my own issues, personal issues. It happens to all of us. Ben, you launched into a tirade that so filled me with righteous indignation. And I was like, we need that guy
That's right.
in the Jewish people, and that's really what we need to do to each other. You know, sometimes people are like, oh, you're preaching to the choir. You know what? The choir needs to be preached to.
Amen.
That's the truth.
Amen. Talking about Ari just said the most important thing. The choir needs to be preached to. When I talk to people, I say, listen. I want the person who at work and at the Shabbos table or with his friends who he supports Israel, but he doesn't know how to support Israel. He doesn't know what to say. And that's what we're about. We're about helping each and every one of you have the confidence to stand up and support Israel, because in the bottom line, it's not about supporting Israel. It's about supporting your own identity as a person and your belief system. So that's what we're here to help all of you guys do. Help you be more secure in your identity. All right.
Wait, let's take a second. Is there a problem with the sound, with the wind? Anybody? The sound? Is the wind okay?
Hey, Leora.
People from Australia.
Barbara, what's up? Hey, everybody.
Shapiro.
Everybody comfortable?
Gloria Shapiro, what's up? All the way in Australia watching us now.
Wait a second. We got a great question here from Joe Melendez. How many generations of Jews prayed to do what you guys are doing today? Boom, Joe. Awesome question.
It's a great question.
All right, and
That's what it's about.
let's start it off. Ben,
Yes,
exactly,
you're leading
Joe.
off with the first segment of today. What are we talking about?
We're talking about war. We're talking about war between Israel and Hamas. Why? Why are we even discussing that evil, despicable three-letter word? When we see the entire Israeli defense establishment walking through the halls with stern faces telling us that it is time to go to war with Hamas, we have to ask ourselves a question. Why? Why are we going to continue to send our boys, our fighters, our most precious commodity that we have in this land, which is our human capital? Why are we sending them off to war into that wretched hellhole known as the Gaza Strip, just so they can go ahead and do it again 3 or 4 years from now? There is a solution to this. They're rattling their sabers right now. What they need to do is quite simple. Press one button that shuts off their electricity in Gaza. Turn off one switch that shuts off their water in Gaza. And you tell them for every single day that there is a riot on the border, that there is one rocket flying over our towns, that our children have to suffer from PTSD and fear because of your terror tunnels and mortars and bullets and chaos and mayhem and destruction. We won't send one of our boys in. We will send in our F-16s. We will fly our drones. We will send our F-35I Joint Strike Fighters with the Star of David emblazoned under their wings. And you will know who the nation of Israel is. Our boys will not go into that battle at all. But what is Israel really afraid of? As soon as we start a confrontation, which has already been started for quite some time, with the evil of Gaza, up north, Hamas, Hezbollah is going to start launching 1,500 rockets. So Israel's caught right now in between a rock and a hard place. But my solution for war in Gaza is quite simple. Bring the war to them in a way that forces their hand. Make their people suffer for every day that our people have to suffer. Make them realize that there will be a consequence to their action every time they decide to pick up a rock, launch a mortar, fire a bullet, or dig a tunnel. Shut off their water, shut off their electricity, and within a week, they'll be begging the Egyptians just to feed them. That's where we need to be with our brutal, hideous, horrible enemy of Hamas within the Gaza Strip.
So if I can just piggyback off what you said just there, you probably have people all over the world who don't get it, are shouting, that's collective punishment.
Absolutely.
You can't do it.
It is.
And what I've been saying now for weeks is that, Israel pats itself on the back, unfortunately, when we send in so much humanitarian aid to Gaza. But what we're actually doing is enabling Hamas. Because what Hamas does, Hamas intercepts that humanitarian aid. It intercepts those building materials, uses them for their underground tunnels program, uses them for their rockets, and then attacks Israel.
That's an excellent point.
So you are enabling Hamas.
I think you're giving them too much credit, okay? Because nothing is new under the sun, as they say, right? And so, what did the United States do in Afghanistan and Iraq? The same problem. Look who the leadership is. Look who the problem is. Let's go in there and surgically remove them, and then we'll put democracy in and we'll leave, and look what happened. It blew up in their face. This is not a problem with Hamas. Anybody who thinks it's a problem with Hamas does not understand the culture that is being perpetuated, not only from the Islamic jihadist world, but from the liberal Western world. Because what happens is in my opinion, they're giving free rein from the Western world, who has every power in the world to stop them doing what they're doing. Except they see that their skin color is brown, and they see that they're a minority, even though they're overwhelmingly majority of people here in the Middle East. But because there's the Jews that are smart and powerful, and then you see Hamas in the Arab world, is that the world is so condescending to them, they don't make them culpable of their own actions.
It's called the bigotry of low expectations.
It's racism.
Yeah, for sure.
It's spirit racism. We need to stop. This is the solution. We need to stop being racist. We need to look at Hamas and Fatah and the people on the street in Gaza. I just picked up a terror flag yesterday. I picked one up. It's a ratty flag that probably cost like 30 cents that destroyed a whole forest. What we need to do is not drop F-16 bombs, although that would obviously make it a lot easier, and perhaps we would actually have some oil exploration in Gaza. We'd be able to see right through the sand and turn into glass. But the point is that we need to identify the real root of the problem. And the root of the problem is two sides. One, Islamic jihad, extremism, number one. And number two, this condescension that's coming from the quote-unquote liberal left that is looking at them and saying, well, you're just bombing, and you just had a conversation with a woman on the liberal left, on Frenemies, who kept making excuses for terror. She's the most racist person I've ever seen. That she lives with Bedouin for 3 years, that makes her not racist? No. She's racist because she's able to look at a person who blows up a bus and say, well, you only did that because of X, Y, or Z.
So I got to tell you, you're saying that Ben, you diagnosed one problem, Gedaliah, you diagnosed another problem. I think it's a different thing altogether. I don't think these are conflicting, but here's what it is. You know, we look at Hamas, and they hide their children behind them. I'm sorry, they're in kindergartens, hiding behind kindergartens, hiding behind children, shooting missiles, and we look at them and say, what a bunch of cowards. And then they see us, though, hiding our children behind us, and they're saying, what a bunch of cowards that aren't willing to sacrifice everything. Right? It's such a foundationally different perspective, and the issue is in the West, we have this arrogance where we project the way we see the world on them. And that's not the case. We have to understand that this is a foundationally different issue. And you're right, it's not about Hamas, it's not about the Islamic Jihad, it's not about Al-Qaeda, it's not about the Taliban, it's not about every single one of these Islamist jihadist organizations. What it's about is this is a spiritual war. It's a religious war.
It's a holy war.
It's a holy war, and we could say, yeah, but we're not in it. If there's a holy war being declared against us, it's a holy war. Think about where we are right now. We're on the southeastern tip of Judea. Right, the southeastern tip. There's no Jews further out than us. Now, the whole world is saying that the problem is with all of this, all of Israel, the world would love us if we just give up the West Bank. Why do they call it the West Bank? Because it's much easier to say to take these settlers out of the West Bank than take the Jews out of Judea. But think about this. When was this land liberated? What year? 1967. What year was the Palestinian Liberation Organization founded? 1964. Were they founded in 1964 to liberate the settlements of 1967 that didn't exist yet? Of course not.
They didn't exist until 1979.
Well, that's neither here nor there. But the idea is that Yasser Arafat was born in Egypt. He wasn't even a Palestinian. What is this about? The whole thing is a smokescreen, a cynical smokescreen to cover for the fact that any Jewish state, even if it's one city block, it means that Allah is not the ultimate God and Islam is not the ultimate religion.
It's also Christians if Christians came here. And this came from Bernard Lewis. If anybody knows Bernard Lewis, who was an expert in Islamic affairs. And he pretty much says very clearly, if you are a Muslim, you cannot convert out of Islam. If you do, it's punishable by death. It's punishable by death. The same applies for land. If land was administered, controlled by Muslims, it can no longer be relinquished, which means that when Bibi Netanyahu tells the international community that one of its red lines is that Mahmoud Abbas and the Palestinian Authority must recognize Israel as a Jewish state, he knows that's a red line. That once they do that, once Mahmoud Abbas says those words, the next morning he's thrown off the rooftop of his own palace, his own $20 million palace.
Just last week, by the way, a top Fatah official admitted, he said it, and it was translated by a Palestinian media watch, he admitted this has nothing to do with land, this is a clash,
It's a
people don't like
religious
to say
war.
it, it's a religious
It's a
war,
religious
clash
war.
of civilizations, and their goal is to get rid of, in other words, I'm paraphrasing here, the dirty Israeli, the dirty Jew. That is the goal. It has nothing to do with land.
The
They
dirty
don't,
Jew.
The dirty Jew.
That-
they don't.
that-
that's
the-
a paraphrase, but he basically said the Israeli, the Jew, that is our goal. He admitted it. He said it on TV.
That's why, Gedaliah, I have to respectfully disagree. I think when we talk about this, we have to be very meduyak about our words, very specific. And when you say it's racist, this isn't a racial thing, right? Because we see what happens to Arabs that convert to Christianity or that convert to Judaism, right? They're right part of the mainstream.
No.
It's a
what I meant
spiritual
was
religious thing.
no. What I meant, it was racist from the part of the Western society to look at the Arabs and saying it's
As an
racist.
Arab thing, okay.
It's a racist to look at a population and say that you are no longer responsible for your own actions as a human being
because
on this
it's
world.
expected of you.
It's
It's called
you're
racism.
expected.
Exactly.
It's like going to the
Yeah.
zoo. It's going to the zoo and seeing a kid jump over the fence and being mauled by a lion. And what are people going to say? The kid shouldn't have jumped over the fence. What do we have in Israel? Big red signs that say, "Do not cross this line, otherwise you're going to get. It's illegal for to enter in." It's the same kind of thing.
I wanna jump in and answer the question I think that many of our viewers are probably asking themselves. They're like, when is this going to end? And what's going to be necessary for this to end? When we're finally living in peace here in our land, we don't have to worry about this. Now, I'm a big proponent of the spiritual battle that's taking place, what Ari was just talking about before. 100% that's what's going on. And in terms of what Gedaliah was mentioning, also that this is not a war against the Jews. This is a religious war against everyone who's not Muslim. That's just the way it is. Study Islam, folks. I say this over and over. Not all Muslims are the problem, but Islam is the problem. Islam is about dominating the world in the name of Allah. That's what Islam's about. They want to take over the world and make the rest of us either die or into dhimmis. That's what it's about. We're all in the same battle, and you have to wake up and support Israel because we're on the same side. So what about us right now? I say there's a 4-point plan. And whether what Ben was saying before is part of that plan, it could be. But I think the bottom line, it's a 4-point plan. Number one, we have to get rid of all the terrorists. They're dead. They're dead. They're gone.
How do you do that?
One second. On my 4-point plan, regardless if it's 1, 2, 3, 4 in a row, it doesn't make a difference. These are the 4 points that are necessary. Number one, they're gone. We can't live with terrorists. They're out to destroy us. They're out to kill us for religious reasons. It's not about the lands. What Josh was saying before, the exact quote he was saying, translated into English of a Palestinian Authority official, is that the religious war to destroy Israel has begun. That was his quote, right? It's a religious war, Palestinian Authority. We don't have a problem with Hamas. We have a problem with all of them. Hamas, Palestinian Authority, all the same problem. We have to get rid of all the terrorists. That's one. They should be dead. Dead. Gone. Dead. Whether it's by shutting off the electricity and then going in, no clue, but they got to die. There can't be anyone involved with terrorism alive. 2, anyone who supports them or their families, they're expelled. They're gone. They can't live here. They have no right to live around us. No right. No right. Whether they're expelled or point number 3, financial assistance is given to everyone who wants to emigrate. Get out of here. Go to a place where you can live. In the end of the day, point number 4 is that only those Arabs who truly want to live in peace with us
And prosperity.
to have the blessing of living with the Jewish people in the Jewish state, because those Muslims who do understand that blessing are blessed and they enjoy the prosperity and the freedoms that we have that they don't have in the rest of the Muslim world. They will be blessed. And they, after a period of time of seeing that they are loyal, whether it's 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, I have no clue, then they become citizens, whether in Judea, Samaria, or Gaza. And the end of the day, the amount of Arabs that's going to be, it's not going to be 2 million, it's not going to be 1 million, it's not going to be 500,000. Why? Because inherently, there is a core of Islam that's about destroying everything that's not Islam. And they're either going to continue fighting, continue supporting it, or deciding Israel's beating us and we're not able to do anything here anymore. Let's take the money and run and go somewhere else. So those are the 4 points I believe have to be done. How, I can't tell you. How, I can't tell you. But in order for us to get to that place where we're able to live peacefully with our Arab neighbors, I believe those are the 4 points.
You, Avi Abelow, are out of line. Because we have 2 more segments and you just ruined them all. But that
We're gonna move on.
We're moving on.
Can I just cut in for one thing, please?
Yeah,
Yeah.
please.
I like listening to everybody's thoughts because we all come from different walks of life. But I don't give a damn. Because right now I have people watching me from the Gaza border, from their kibbutz, people that I consider brothers. Refuah Gil, he's my gear dealer that I've given God knows how many thousands of pieces of gear to soldiers through. He lives right there on the Gaza border. They have 5 seconds to respond to a mortar that they don't even hear. His children, his family, and by his children and family, I mean all of them that live there, all the tens of thousands, they need a solution today. They don't need a 5-point plan, a 100-point plan. They don't need spiritual wars versus physical wars. They need to know that tonight they are sleeping in peace. It's time we stop bending over backwards and tripping over ourselves to find a solution to placate our enemy. Enough is enough. You think Abu Mazen, that Kelev, you think he really cares about spirituality? That man cares about money and power. You think Saddam Hussein gave a damn about spirituality? You can call it a spiritual war because we know it's a spiritual war. Who are these Fakistinians? They are our mirror image for not being the people we need to be. They stab us in the back because we stab each other in the back. They have a big golden dome over our Holy of Holies, over our temple, to remind us that that golden dome can switch into the Kodesh HaKadoshim, which was also one piece of pure gold, that when we were unified.
A golden floor.
It's all one piece, one. You understand? That's what that's there for. We aren't living in Israel so we can raise placards and scream at the government. That doesn't do it. Unity will drive us together and will drive our enemies apart. And for now, we need to shut off the electricity and water to the Gaza Strip and make them feel the pain.
You heard it, folks. We need unity. Everybody follow suit. Right here.
I want to add a point
And
touching
then
upon.
we have to move on.
No,
Touching,
let's move on,
okay,
let's move
okay.
on, let's move on,
Touching
let's move
upon.
on.
Wait. He brought up the Temple Mount. You got to deal with this, folks. You got to deal with it. The bottom line, it's so simple. And again, I can't answer Ben's question about today. Why? Because me, Ben, Ari, Gedaliah, and Josh are not the ones calling the shots right now. We have a government who, for good or for bad, and for everything we're going to scream and shout about, they're not going to be doing what they want them to do, not today, not tomorrow, not next week. They're just not. All right, so we want to tell our friends on the Gaza border that they're going to be safe tomorrow. I wish that would be true and we could say that. But it's going to take some time and it's not going to happen immediately. But the bottom line is the Temple Mount. If you look at the Temple Mount, everybody, what's the Temple Mount?
Are you sure we want to go here? Because that's an entirely new
That's-
show. That should be next week's
That's
show.
next week's show.
You can't just touch
Oh
on
my
that.
God, it's the
Okay.
Temple
By
Mount!
the way,
Moving
the
on,
Temple
moving on.
Mount. By the way, the Temple Mount is not a sentence.
Okay, all
All right,
right,
next,
all right,
next
guys. Okay, so if you're just joining this broadcast,
You have to
all
tune in
right,
next week
we
now.
Are, who
There
are
go.
we? What are we doing? We were just 5 guys, 5 friends who decided that we're going to get together. We're going to broadcast live. We're going to broadcast live on Facebook. I think we're doing Twitter also right now.
Yeah,
Twitter
if
as
it's
well.
working.
Just sharing our thoughts and opinions. None of us are government officials. None of us represent the state of Israel, as far as I know, in a official capacity.
None of us get money from the state of Israel either.
Right, we don't get money from the state of Israel. That's right. That's why it's
We do
low
this on
tech
our
today.
own.
That's why I'm holding my camera
That's why
right
you hear
now.
the wind blowing in
That's
our
why you hear the
microphones.
wind. This is not a professional broadcast. This is Facebook Live. Decided to get together and do something positive, make our voices heard, and share it with the world. And by the way, we're going to do this again. Okay, this is a test run, our first
But I
time
think so
doing
far
it.
so good.
So far
I
so
think we're all
good.
feeling it
So
right
far
now.
so good. And we are,
Maybe
for
it's
those
the
of you who are asking,
Johnny
there
Walker.
will be women in the next broadcast. Okay.
Don't promise what we don't
There
know
will be,
yet.
I promise.
We're going to
Lean
try
in
to
there.
make sure there are women.
There are plenty
Love
of
for
women.
there to be women
There are
here.
plenty of
They're historically
female
reliable.
voices who deserve to be here and should be here and will be here.
And we will make sure they drink whiskey with us.
But this happened to be just a guys' night. We decided to do this, and last minute, and we are. We're doing it. Second topic. Okay, we're moving on. Yesterday, I was at the GA, the General Assembly of Jewish Federations in North America. The gathering was held in Tel Aviv. So that right there caused some controversy. People were asking, the GA is held in Israel every 5 years. Why wouldn't it be in Jerusalem, our capital, without disrespect to Tel Aviv? Why wouldn't it be here? And the theme of this year's General Assembly was, we must talk. We have to talk.
We gotta talk.
We got to talk. Let's talk. Whatever it was. They actually changed it a bit
Let's talk.
from we need to talk to let's talk. They changed it in their official paraphernalia and their brochures or whatnot.
Let me just ask our listeners out there before, Josh, let's take a time out. Can everybody hear us? Because to us, we're just talking to the wind. But to all of you, maybe the wind is prohibitive.
Can you hear us?
So please.
If the wind is bad, it just picked up, we'll move.
Is it worth us moving and picking up shop and who knows what's going to be?
Let us know.
Or should we take it from here?
I'm going to let you hold this.
I got a yes, I think. Yeah, I got a yes.
Thanks,
Yes,
guys.
You can hear us.
You can hear us? Good.
Okay, so we're going to try to talk up, speak up.
So yesterday at the GA, you have several thousand Jews from the United States. You have Israelis, everyone gathering, kumbaya, everything's great. The question I want to ask to you is, are we at a situation right now where it really is we need to talk as if the U.S. leadership it's almost threatening, like if we need to condescending, if we need to talk so badly, it's like we're breaking up. Are we at that point where we're breaking up? I mean, there were several speakers, whether they were Israeli or they were American yesterday, hinting that things are so bad right now. They've never been this bad, whether it's the issue with prayer at the Western Wall with the Kotel, whether it's all these different religious versus secular issues, that things are just so bad that we need to talk. So that's really the question. And one upsetting thing about yesterday, and there were a lot of people who were commenting and blogging or whatnot on this issue of we need to talk yesterday, was the fact that those who were representing the federations, those who were up on stage, a lot of them were of one persuasion, whether it was a religious persuasion, whether it was a persuasion of we believe in two-state solution, call it liberal, call it left-wing, whatever it was. Very few orthodox, quote-unquote orthodox representatives at the GA yesterday. I'm not talking about people who were there. I'm talking about people who were officially speaking, who were on the list.
We got to speak up, gentlemen.
I need to speak up. Whether it was a lack of Orthodox, whether it was a lack of so-called settlers, residents of Judean Samaria, was there a lack of Ethiopian Jews there? I mean, a lot of people had a lot of questions in terms of perhaps leaving people out, and that was a lot of the discussion. So we're going to open it up to the forum here. I mean, number one, is the problem so critical between Israel and the diaspora that we're at a situation where we're saying to ourselves, we need to talk, things are so bad? From your experiences, every one of you travels to the U.S., does speaking tours, has so many followers online from all over the world. I mean, are you getting that sense that things are so bad right now between what's going on here in Israel, the way we're running the show here in the Jewish homeland, and what's going on there? And also, I'll add to that, do those who don't live here, what do you think their right is to say to us, sit down, we need to talk? What's your opinion?
So I'll just throw a few very brief ideas out there and let it go to you guys. Number one, you said the problem with diaspora Jewry. I've always had an aversion to the word diaspora because the word diaspora has a connotation of dispersion. You know, to each their own. There's some Jews in Israel, and there's some Jews in America, some Jews around the world, and to each their own. Whereas the truth, a better word, I think, is exile. Exile is a better word because it means that they are not where they are supposed to be. And I think that is the foundation of the problem, that they have forgotten that they are not where they are supposed to be. They have forgotten who they are, and it's not their fault. It's simply a product of being there. When you are back in the land of Israel, you get rooted into a much more holistic understanding of what Judaism is. And it no longer is a religion. It's not a religion anymore. That's what it becomes in the exile. Right. It became a religion.
Right.
Whereas the truth is much deeper than that. And I'll tell you, I was walking in Times Square, and I saw these black Hebrews. I love this story. And they were all, you know this story, and they were all, dressed as like the high priest on the Day of Atonement. They saw me with my yarmulke on my head. They said, you Jewish? I said, yeah, I'm Jewish. They said, one who acts like a child is childish, whereas one who acts like a Jew is Jewish. So whereas you are like the Jew, we are the Jew. I was like, wow, okay. But they had a point. And the point is that we're not Jewish. It's not one of our characteristics. It's our essence. It's our definition. And why are we called Jews? Why? Because we're from Judea, which is where we are right now. That's where we are right now. So here's the deal. I could very easily say exile Jewry needs us a lot more than we need them. We're strong. We're vibrant. We're innovating. We have an army and a defense establishment that will protect them when they need it. But the truth isn't that they need us more than we need them, or we need them more than we need each other. Why? Because we're a family. So we need to come to them from a place of love and from a place of strength and say this whole we need to talk thing, and you want to mold Israel into the projection of your own liberal values, which you're taking on as your foundational identity. We're not conservatives, we're not liberals, we're Jews. That's Ari Abramowitz on.
So
Anybody else?
I think we all have something to say on this.
Oh yeah. Ready for this?
Let's keep it tight though.
My answer is, first of all, no.
Wind is crazy.
We don't have a problem between American Jewry and Israel and Israeli Jewry.
Speak up, Avi, there's wind.
No, we don't have a problem between American Jewry and Israeli Jewry. There is no schism. There is no crack between Israeli Jewry and American Jewry. Yes, a conversation has to be had, but it's not between Israeli Jewry and American Jewry. The conversation has to be had between American Jewry and their rabbinic and lay leadership in America that are leading them the wrong way and creating a division where there is none. It's not Israel creating a division. It is much, not all, much of the rabbinic and lay, much of the non-Orthodox leadership that are creating mountains out of molehills. I have family and friends who are Reform, who are conservative. They love Israel. They want to support Israel. They're not thinking about the Western Wall egalitarian section. They're not thinking about the nation-state law that has to do with Israel. It is just the lay leaders and the rabbis of these communities that are making a division where there is none. And what they should be doing, it's so simple. The catchword in American Jewry is Jewish continuity, right? One Pew report after another. Less and less Jews are affiliated with the Jewish community. More and more young Jews are leaving. More and more Jews are assimilating. They're always saying Jewish continuity, Jewish continuity. These rabbis and lay leaders, instead of going to Tel Aviv and telling us Israelis that we're the problem, they should be thinking, if they really care about Jewish continuity, there is only one solution for their congregants to make sure that their grandchildren and great-grandchildren have a chance of remaining Jewish. What's that one solution? Make Aliyah and move to Israel. Israel is the solution to ensure Jewish continuity for their congregants, and instead they are making Israel a divisive issue, pushing their congregants and followers far away from feeling proud of Israel and feeling a pride in their Jewish identity. And that's where the conversation should be had. Not here in Israel with Israelis, but with American Jewry themselves.
All right. I think I'm going to insult a lot of people. I think most likely I'm going to insult a lot of people because this is a very, very touching subject, and thank you, Josh, for bringing it up. Here's the way that I see it. I grew up in America as a non-affiliated Jew. There was no talk about Israel. There was no talk about the temple. There's no talk about anything. No talk about anything. We were assimilated. And I'll tell you that as I grew older and understood what it is to love Israel and to love the Jewish people and to be part of the Jewish people and to understand that the Jewish people are one of the most stubborn species in the face of this earth. Stubborn. So are you.
I'm sheriff.
You know, Ari, he's building a farm that a military helicopter is flying over right now to protect him. The point is, what I'm trying to say is that the Jewish people are stubborn. Whether they're quote-unquote Jewish settlers or left-wing liberal activists in Berkeley, okay? The point is like this. Assimilation is high, 70%. There's no Jewish continuity in America. They're going in a dead end. If you're not Orthodox and you're not Jewish, then you're not going to have Jewish children or grandchildren. That's a fact. That's a statistical fact. And instead of the Jews at the GA owning up to that mathematical statistical fact, what they're trying to do is continue they're being stubborn in saying, no, we can't be doing anything wrong. We must still be doing something right. So let's go around and point fingers at anybody else besides ourselves and blame them for this problem that we're having. And what they're doing now is they're blaming Israel politically. The right-wing government, Bibi Netanyahu, you're building more settlements, you're doing that. What are we supposed to say to our people in America, the left wing? We don't know what to answer them. So now we have to be anti-Israel. Because God forbid they actually stand up against the American society and admit for a second that Jewish Americans are different than regular Americans. For the last 150 years, American Jewry has been trying to assimilate so much, to say, no, we're not different, we're just like you. But at the end of the day, they're not. They're not different. And what's going to come out, they try to be so different. They try to be the same. Assimilation is high. And those who want to be different, anti-Semitism is going to hit them. There's only, what Avi was saying, there's only one solution. And the solution for continuity, for survival, for life, is to move to the land of Israel, to live in the...
Come home, people. Come home.
Come home.
And that's it. That's the bottom line. Math doesn't lie.
Now, I think a lot of people are listening to this mean like, everyone's saying the solution is Aliyah, the solution is Aliyah. And it's so hard to make Aliyah. I'm going to be leaving my family.
Yeah, I'm getting
How am I going
questions
to
like
make a
that.
living?
It's very difficult today to make Aliyah.
Yeah, and you know what the answer is for many, many, many people? The answer is yes, it's difficult. So what?
Yeah.
No. Here's the answer, and this is the question that I got from my friends and family from America when I decided to make Aliyah. They said, isn't your family so important to you? I said, of course it's important to me.
That's why I made Aliyah.
That's why I made Aliyah, so I could build it here in the land of Israel. My family is important. I do not want to grow. I do not want to raise a Jewish family outside the land of Israel. You don't farm fish in a field. You put them in a
But
pond.
also, I have to say, I think of Michael Douglas. You know what Michael Douglas, the big actor? His name when he was born was Igor Davidovich, a Jew. And he said that the greatest gift he's ever had in his life was the gift of poverty. Why? Because he was raised in a home where he didn't have everything coming to him. He had to work for a hard-boiled egg. And he said that gave him the drive and that gave him the thirst. Now listen, a lot of people think they're going to make Aliyah and they're going to hit poverty. Really not the case. This is a thriving, innovative economy. And there's also a lot of new olim, a lot of people that will help you out. There's nefesh benefesh. But let's say it is hard. What's wrong with hard? Whatever it is, it's going to be a blessing. Even if it's difficult, it's going to be a blessing. Your kids will have character. There's a certain sparkle, a zeal, a passion in the eyes of children that are raised here. I see when families come out here and the kids are running through the mountains, little Judean Israeli children are just... They have the American kids are like, oh, where's my phone? Where's out? Not all of them, of course, and that's a big generalization. But the point is that it's going to be good, even if it's hard and even if it's difficult. It will be good and it will be a blessing. And whatever difficulties there are, it's going to pale in comparison to what is in store for exiled Jewry.
Bro, we just read it recently.
Ah.
Go. I just spent a full day yesterday with.
Wait, repeat that for the audience.
We just read in the Torah, in the 5 books of Moses, the entire Bible's based on. Lech lecha me'artzecha. Abraham, our patriarch, was told by God himself, through ultimate faith, leave your land, leave your father's house, leave everything you've ever known, everything, and go to a land with a big question mark. I will eventually tell you where you're going. You... and I, and all of us, had an easy landing here in Israel, compared to what Abraham himself had to follow. Lech lecha me'artzecha. Leave that land. Leave the traditions that you know of now. Leave the idol worship that right now, all of us outside of this land are following without any question. The worship of money, the worship of fear, the worship of hopes and dreams outside of these magnificent borders. Lech lecha. Me'artzecha. Leave your land. Leave everything you've ever known. And go to a place that you don't know of. Talk about fear. Put yourself in Abraham's shoes for 1 minute. He wasn't a man that didn't bleed. He wasn't a man that didn't have fears. He was a man who knew he didn't raise his children properly at all times. He was a man who knew there was divisiveness in the camp. Yet he still followed God's word to the T. He left. And when he got to that land, what happened? There was famine. Imagine that. You're told by God to do something, and when you do it, hardship. So what would we all do? God, how could you? This is not right. I'd rather be an atheist. I'd rather know the hardships that I know. I know my subway ride takes me an hour and a half each way. I know the traffic on the George Washington Bridge. That's my slavery. And don't ever forget, 80% of our nation, 80% never left the land of Egypt. Will you leave the land of Egypt and come home to the land that is yours, that is your children's, that is your children's children's, for an eternal heritage?
Do we still read about those 80%? What happened to them?
Puff of dust.
Well, those who did leave Egypt, really quick,
Goldstein's
those
my
who left
rabbi.
Egypt, do you
He's
know
my
what
new
the
rabbi.
first
Danny
enemy...
Seaman, you're still my rabbi? Ben Goldstein's now my new
He's
rabbi,
my rabbi
as well.
too. The first enemy
Two
that,
rabbis
that
I have now.
Israel captured.
He's my drug dealer. He's my adrenaline.
When they left Egypt,
I'm not
the
really his
first
drug dealer.
Ben Goldstein, who was the first nation that the nation of Israel conquered when they left Egypt to enter the land of Israel?
Tell me, Rabbi.
Cheshbon.
Okay.
Melech Cheshbon. Cheshbon is calculations. When you're like, oh, I should go, but I'm nervous about this and about that, and am I going to make it? And all of those calculations, that was the name of those who they first conquered.
Awesome.
Was Cheshbon.
I didn't know that.
Was Cheshbon. And
Brilliant.
my partner Jeremy just moved out here to this hilltop. He sold his one asset, which was his home, that he's been paying mortgage on, to build a house out here that doesn't even belong to him. It made no rational sense. There's no security, nothing at all. And he moved out here, and when I sat down, I said, Jeremy, let me try to talk some sense into you. Maybe you should take it slow. He said, I don't want to hear it. Because he knew that if he started listening to it, game's over.
Great.
You got to follow your
You
heart.
got it. So what is the core word here right now? Faith. Emunah. Abraham, Avram had the ultimate in faith to the point where he discovered faith, which is why his nations were blessed.
But you only need like 5% of what Avram had. Today,
That's true.
Israel is such a thriving country. You're not going to the backwoods of South Carolina.
Right. Tennessee, thank you.
Tennessee.
Don't you ever disrespect me again like that.
Fighting words, Gedaliah.
I want to deepen Ben's thought, bring in Ari Fuld, and then give a solution for all of you who have not yet decided to make Aliyah, okay? And for American Jewry that should be talked to by their leadership. So first of all, what Ben is saying is 100% true, and the rabbis see it in the words, because the question is, Lech lecha me'artzecha. That's enough. That's enough. Lech lecha me'artzecha. Avram, go from your land. But then it continues, Umi moladitcha, umi beit avicha. Why? Why the extra words? There are no
what does that
extra
mean in
words.
English? Explain
And
it.
from your birthplace and from your father's home. So instead of just one word saying leave from a place, the Torah, God gives us 3 different words for leave your home, leave where you were born, leave your father's home. Those are 2 extra words. The Torah is giving us 2 extra words, and there are no extra words in the Torah. So the rabbis say exactly what Ben's saying. What is God trying to tell us? Abraham, it's going to be hard, and you're going to do it anyway.
Right, detach
and
physically,
Abraham did it anyway.
detach physically, and detach emotionally.
Right, it's everything. It's a hardship.
Beit Avicha is your family. Moladetech is your culture. The
Exactly,
culture,
everything. And then bring in Ari Fuld to this. The famous magnet, if you don't have yet, is of Ari Fuld, with a sentence that he tells that he used to say all the time to his family and to his children, and that his daughter Tamar spoke about at his funeral. If life is easy, you're living it wrong. Life is about challenges. Life is about overcoming challenges. Life is about enriching your life because you're dealing with challenges. If you're living life easy, you're living it wrong. That's from Ari Fuld. So now what about for all of you? You did not make Aliyah yet. You didn't make the decision to make Aliyah yet. You're still wherever you are. What can you do, and what should American Jews do?
Unless you're watching from here, of course.
Unless you're watching from here, okay?
Down the road, there are people over watching in Israel as well. That's right.
And this is where again, rabbinic and lay leadership of American Jewry. How do they explain Israel to the youth today, to the college students? Israel is the startup nation. Be proud. Israel is the startup nation. Guess what, folks? They can get high-tech startup in Silicon Valley, in Manhattan, in Chicago, in Paris, in London. That does not make Israel unique. That does not burn the fire under the pride of a young Jew to feel proud that he's a Jew, to feel proud. Yeah, Israel's the startup nation. Abraham started up a nation. Abraham started up a nation right now. You bring your kids with the Bible open to Elon Moreh, to Hebron, to Beersheba, to here. Let them be proud of the true startup nation. That's their identity. Make them proud of their identity and bring them to Judea and Samaria. Bring them to the place of the Bible. Show them it's not just fairy tales. Show them that it's real. Show them where he walked. That's the startup nation they should be proud of. And the other one, they tell their kids, oh, Israel has the same values as us, right? They have a pride parade. Israel is a pride parade where we have the same values, shared values between America and Israel. Wrong. That's not the pride that should be given over to their kids. They should be giving their kids the pride of going to the Mount of Olives and seeing 3,000 years of graves of Jews from the prophet Zechariah and King David's son Avshalom all the way to Menachem Begin and the fighters in the 1948 War of Independence. Take your kids there and feel the pride in their identity that's 3,000 years old that just happens to be in the area their leaders call Arab East Jerusalem and want to get rid of, but that's a different story. That's where they give over their pride to their children, and that's what the lay leadership and rabbinic leadership of most non-Orthodox Jewry is totally missing, and they're losing the youth of today.
You're right, but let's go back to the original question. And I'll tell you, and I'll keep it short, and everybody has something.
We're gonna have to
Wrap
wind
it
this
up.
down.
Wrap it up. Wrap
Yeah.
it up.
And I know you want to as well.
No, just 5 seconds.
Yep.
One thing,
Yep.
I'm not for Aliyah. You know, I used to be for Aliyah, pushing Aliyah. I'm for 1 year pilot trip. Just do a 1 year pilot trip. It doesn't need to be Aliyah.
You're like
That's
a drug
jump-
dealer. Just
go
take
to the
this.
1 year
just take-
pilot. That's
just
exactly
just
what
try
it is.
it out a little bit.
That's exactly
It's
what
like
it
a
is.
drug
Do a
deal.
1 year
Try it out.
pilot trip. If you don't like it at the end of the year, you could say you tried.
Yeah.
You could say you tried and you go back. Because you come here for a year, you know what?
And a lot of people will go back. And when they go back, how are they gonna feel?
They're going to
That's
miss
right.
Israel.
It's going to be
They're
part of the
not
journey.
gonna realize.
Part of the journey.
They're not gonna realize
Take a
what they're
sabbatical.
missing until they
true.
leave it.
Yeah, but go back to the
Goldstein,
original
yeah.
question. I spent some
Sure.
time with some really amazing people with the Federation trip. I went to the Shuk to meet them, and I spoke to them. Friends I've known my entire life. Beyond the fact that I feel that there's a lot of general disconnect with understanding what's actually occurring here, you have to realize, when he told me that he went to Abu Ghosh, and they stopped over there in Abu Ghosh to speak to someone, I asked him a question. Did the people that were guiding your tour, did they stop and tell you that this Arab-Israeli town is exactly how peace can be achieved in the Middle East? This is a springboard, perfect example with multi-million shekel homes. Arabs, Muslims living with Christians, with Jews coming all weekend to celebrate and eat in their restaurants. Because they didn't fight Israel in 1948. They stayed and developed relations with Israel. These Arab, Muslim, and Christians living in the land of Israel are now seeing amazing success. They weren't even told where they were standing with the GA. They weren't even told that they were in a village that represents what peace can be. To the point where when they went to the Kotel on Friday night for tefillot, for prayers, for Shabbat, I was told they weren't allowed to walk from the Kotel to the David Citadel and the King David
No
Hotel
way.
because of security concerns.
Oh my God.
How disconnected can you be when women and children are walking with strollers at 2 o'clock in the morning in the old city of Jerusalem? How disconnected can you be from our people when you have to be shepherded onto buses because you are a large American group that for some reason feels that they have to have special treatment with security in the land of Israel? That to me is shameful. You should walk your streets. You should, just like Abraham was promised, every step you take belongs to you. Religious, non-religious, that's up to you. But not to walk through the sacred alleyways of Jerusalem that in 1967 our heroes fought and died to conquer. You're too fearful, the GA leadership, to put your American group on foot, and instead you have to place them on buses for security reasons. Israel's one of the same. That to me is shameful. That to me is the whole essence of what this trip represented. We're going to show you how to be an American GA official in Israel.
Fear is a response of not knowing in a lot of ways. It just, like you were saying about the disconnect, it just shows the complete disconnect that this particular group has, that they felt the need for extra security in such one of the most safest places in the world, and which is our place. I'm not angry. It hurts me. It hurts my heart to understand that there are actually Jews in this world that actually feel and think the way that they do. Because I know what they don't have. I have what they don't have. And if I could only find a way to have a conversation with them, the GA, let's talk. Unfortunately, there was half of the population politically wasn't invited. And unfortunately, the let's talk should have been called, you should be listening to me. You should come into my house, into our house, where I planted my tent, and you're planting your RV for a few weeks, and you're telling me that we're the spoiled teenager and you're the responsible adult. And if anybody wants to see that quote, it's a completely irresponsible, opening statement from one of the heads of the Jewish agencies. The most condescending thing that you could open up with. It sets the stage for exactly the reasons why we really need to talk.
Well, my only thought is we could be angry about that because there's a lot of room for self-righteousness and anger that they're coming here to lecture us when our very existence is ensuring their own safety. But really, there's much more room for compassion. A lot of compassion that they are so stuck in this vortex of leftist, liberal mind bend where they're enslaved to this culture that they're not even aware of what's going on and what they're missing.
I feel
they're
bad
our
for
brothers,
them.
they're our family. We love them and they love us. We got to focus on that. We got to share.
At the same time, I will say I must recognize, and I think we're going to conclude. We were going to move on to another topic here, but time is short.
gotta
We're
wind it
going to
down.
wind it down, but I will say, just as an example of something positive, last week in Gush Etzion, the Metro West Jewish Federation arrived in Gush Etzion for a day in the Gush to tour the area and get an understanding of what life is like in Gush Etzion. So there are pockets of individuals. So I have to give a shout out.
100%.
And I do want to end with something positive. Metro West Jewish Federation, and there are others out there.
And there's
Right.
others
They're
out
not
there
the only
too.
ones.
That's
So
right.
let's not say it's a blanket. Unfortunately, in this situation, it was the leadership at a major conference who were,
This very place has been very much supported and helped built by exile Jewry.
yeah.
So that's a very big deal
So-
also. Now, all of you are listening and watching the Judean Roundtable.
The Judean
Right.
That's
Judean
right.
Roundtable.
Maybe
We just-
that's the name.
we
Well,
just
for
came up
now,
with it.
for now, we
For
could be
now,
up in
for
the
now.
Stormont next
For
week.
now.
That's
So-
true. That's true. This
so-
episode is definitely the Judean Roundtable.
So guys, I mean, if you want to add something out, I just want to say this was our pilot edition of this formatted show, whatever you want to call it, Facebook Live, with just a bunch of friends sitting together. We hope to do this further from different locations, with different participants, with more participants, with men, women, whomever. This was a pilot. So for
Feedback.
those of
We
you,
need feedback.
for those of you joining us all over the world, and I'm seeing literally all over the world, and that was the goal, is to reach as many people as we could all over the world. And this is just the first of many, okay? In this new realm of social media. And you have some of the top guys here in social media in Israel. None of us being paid by the government of the state of Israel
And
to
this
do
is
this.
also not about organizations or labels. We're all
Right.
live streaming on our
We're
own
all streaming, and the
platforms.
quality might be bad. If my quality's bad, go to Avi's page, go to thelandofisrael.com, go to Israel Video Network, go to Ben Goldstein. If you missed some of the show, go back to all these pages. This is just a trial, but we appreciate your time. We appreciate everyone's energy, and you can feel the love and the passion of the land of Israel, the Jewish people, the Jewish nation, from all the people sitting here, and that's why we're here.
Excellent.
So
Let's
we're
all
gonna
take a big, deep
we're
breath
gonna-
of beautiful,
Yeah.
fresh air for everybody that's watching.
right.
And all in all, we're here for unity.
Everybody
Amen.
come and
Unity.
visit.
Amen.
Please.
Amen.
Beautiful.
And for those who missed it, if
Go
you
back.
open up the book of Amos,
Thank you very
you open up the book of Amos, the prophet Amos, folks. This is where Amos prophesied. You see,
Can
you
we
see the
show
hills.
them the land?
You
Yeah.
see
Hey,
the hills.
everybody, wait.
Ari,
We're
the
can
hills
you
in the
explain where
background?
we are?
This is where
gonna-
Amos.
we're gonna show you-
You're on the
gonna show
southeastern
you-
tip of Judea.
Listen up.
Right
You
here,
look
folks.
out there, you see Masada that way.
Really?
Masada goes all the way down there. This is one of the cloudiest days I've ever seen. It's quite tragic. Usually right out that way you can see the Dead Sea crystal clear. That's Ma'aleh Amos, the heights of Amos. That's where Masada is. Hebron is right over those mountains. Bethlehem is over these mountains. We're in the heart of Judea. That's where we are. People can say
All
we're
right.
on the outer edge of
So now I'm just going to
Judea.
talk to you for
We're
a
in
second.
Judea, where we're meant to be.
If you missed any of the show, if my quality on my feed wasn't good, go back. You can watch the entire show. Hello from Arkansas. You can go back and watch it on thelandofisrael.com. You can go back and watch it on Israel Video Network. You can go back and watch it on Ben Goldstein's Facebook page, Gedaliah Blum's Twitter feed. I'm Josh Hasten,
Questions, answers,
and everyone's talking over each other a little bit right now. I hope you can hear me.
Thank you, Josh.
Thanks very much. I hope you can hear me. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And again, this was a trial. We're going to get it together in terms of our technical capabilities. We're going to get more people on. We're going to get women on. Yes, absolutely, 100%. Anybody who thought we deliberately said, well, we're not going to have women on the show? Absolutely not. This was a guys' night recently. Just like, 10 days ago, we had a guys' night and decided, now it's getting really windy, we were going to do something like this. Okay, we came together to mourn the loss of our good friend, Ari Fuld, Hashem Yakom Damo, and now we are uniting in his spirit, in his memory. And unfortunately, it took something that tragic. Okay, but we are here. We're going to keep doing it. We're going to keep sharing the truth. As you saw, there are a lot of different opinions here. Not everyone agrees on the solution for Hamas in Gaza. Not everyone agrees on issues involving American Jewry and the GA. These are all different voices, but unified together, we can share the truth of what's going on here in Israel to the world. So as the winds pick up, the sun is setting here in Israel on a beautiful Tuesday. I'm going to sign out. Josh Hasten here. Be in touch with me. Send me a messenger. Send me a direct message. Send me a message on Twitter at Josh Hasten, on Facebook, where you are right now. I'll try to get back to each and every one of you. And again, visit all of my friends' pages. These are amazing people doing amazing work, not getting paid by the government. We are just individuals trying to make a difference, trying to do good. That's all what this is. That's what this is all about. And I'm going to sign off now. And only good things to all of you out there, wherever you are in the world. Stay in touch, and we'll let you know when we're doing another one of these. It's getting really windy here on the southeastern tip of Gush Etzion above the Judean desert. All the best to all of you. Signing out. Check out the view. I hope you can see the view. It's getting really windy. I'm signing out. Have a good night from Israel. Shalom.